everybody. This is Rabbi Ari Bensoussan. I would like to thank Rabbi Tarragon. I would like to thank the entire concept of Vayichan, this entire idea of bringing Klal Yisrael together, of trying to finally, especially in these times where we're found now, to finally get everybody together as one. To have an Achdut, to have everybody striving together towards one goal and towards one purpose, which is that of connection, which is trying to find a certain place where all of us can finally be biyachad, all of us can finally be one together. So I'm just taking out my watch. I don't want to go over. Everybody's got their amount of time. So what does that say? 15, so the 30, and then that's going to get us to 15 minutes. That's 20 minutes. And that's going to be 25. Okay, good. I'll get over there. So let's talk for a few minutes. You see, it's hard to give a Tisha B'Av-esque speech or feeling when you're doing that speech even before the 3 weeks. So I'm going to let a little secret. This isn't live right now. What you're watching is from weeks ago. Hopefully Mashiach came already. Hopefully this is a gag reel. Hopefully this is just a joke. Hopefully this is something that people are like, oh, okay, because Mashiach's here. And so why, we don't even have to, meaning we've done it. We've earned it. We got there. So I am making this speech in the honest hope that this speech never has to see the light of day. I'm very happy with that, if the reason is because Baruch Hashem, Mashiach has finally arrived. This is really, really what we're hoping for. And if he hasn't, and you're seeing this now, so I'd like to thank you for the time you're taking out. I'd like to thank the organization Chazak, my organization over here in Los Angeles, Chazak New York, Chazak England, Chazak L.A., and under the Chazak international banner of trying to spread Torah through the world, trying to give as much Torah and trying to bring Yidden, trying to bring Jews from all over the world, from all different backgrounds, to be able to be one, to be able to connect Hashem as one. So thank you. Now let's get started. So I was thinking long and hard about this. I was thinking, like, why in particular do I have something to say that it's important enough to be put onto something so magnanimous as the event that's happening right now? And it hit me hard. All of us, we live in a generation where we expect so much to be given to us. We literally almost are like Esav when he said to Yaakov, Haliteni na me'adom adom hazeh. When in Yiddish, do you know how to translate the word Haliteni in Yiddish? I do. I went to a Yiddish translating elementary school. Haliteni na, gis miraran. I'm not going to, gis miraran, pour it into my mouth. Meaning, we, of course, deserve. We, of course, you're supposed to give me and give me and give me. We've been brought up like this almost to a fault. And now, the problem with this fault is simply, let's face it, the lack in relationship is something that we end up suffering so much because of. So today I'd like to talk how to show hakarat hatov. In the Bein Adam Lechavero realm, in the Bein Adam Lechavero world, one of the greatest aspects of connection, of relationship to each other, is when I appreciate you so much, and you appreciate me so much, that we take out the time to show I didn't expect anything from you. Rather, I want to give back to you. I'll give you an example. Today, for Chazak, so I was running what's called a $1 a day campaign, which is that I'm reaching out to many, many different people, Baruch Hashem, across the world, all these different WhatsApp groups and very many social media, etc., that I send out a lot of different content. Baruch Hashem, Hashem gave me the ability to be able to do that, to go and to share with the world. And so I sent out messages to people, do you think you can help us with $1 a day? And inside the message it was very nicely said, and if you can't, I understand, maybe you know somebody who could. The main thing is learning, that's the main thing. You know, a lot of people replied, a lot, and said, Rabbi Ari, thank you for what you do. Thank you for sending out all of the media that you send out, all the Torah that you're sharing. And financially I'm not there, I wish I was, but thank you. Every person who sent that to me, I immediately wrote back, you just made my day. You just made my week. You literally, I don't find, so you know, Hashem provides the money. It's not, but thank you. Thank you for at least acknowledging the fact that I spend hours and hours in this prep, and that I have to lock myself in a room. I have to sometimes do 5 or 6 different takes because it's loud in the house or because it just doesn't come out right the first time. Thank you. And then you have other people who send back some pretty funny responses. There was one guy who went and sent back, he said, you want me to give you $1 a day? How about you give me $2? I'll give you $1. He said, better yet, you give me $10 a day and I'll give you $1 a day. Which to me spoke a lot about the generation that we have, where of course you're putting out content, of course you're teaching Torah. You have to. That's who you are. That's how Hashem made you. And so therefore, haliteini na, kismiranan, give me more and more. Well, meaning, you don't want to give to it, that's fine. You don't want to say thank you, that's fine. But then to even go and show it on such a degree that you can even make fun of it. We're so numb in this, though, all of us. So I felt, if we can begin to show each other real hakarat hatov, if we can begin to show each other real thanks, a real connection between us all, and to look out for it, meaning to be active, not reactive, to be proactive, to go out and to show hakarat hatov before it's even asked of you. That shows that you have a Yiddish heart pumping inside you. And that's the concept of Vayichan. That's the concept of they were all there, Ke'ish echad belev echad, that they were all there as one. Rav Shimon Shkop has a beautiful word. Rav Shimon Shkop says, what's pshat v'yahavta l're'echa kamecha, that you should end up loving re'acha, you should end up loving your friend like you love yourself. How is it really possible for somebody to go and to love somebody like they love themselves? And he says something amazing. He says, you are be'etzem everyone, meaning, who is yourself? Kamecha, who is yourself? Give a look at yourself and understand. The very famous line, it takes a village to bring up a child. It takes Klal Yisrael to bring up a Yid. You aren't yourself. No man is an island. John Donne wrote that. But no man is an island, and certainly no Yid is on his own. From the beginning of time, it was made like that. Let's ask a question. This concept of Vayichan Sham, what was it in Hashem's in Hashem's look on this world that made such a roshim, made such an effect on our infinite God Himself? What did Hashem see? So, a basic question that's been asked, a basic question that's so fundamental to our entire religion. If one person sinned, if Adam went and did the Aveirah by the Eitz Hadat, why are we all suffering because of that to this day? Why is it that all of us now suffer because of the sin of Adam? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever that anybody today should have to, look, Adam went, Adam messed up, okay, that was terrible, but Hashem, all because he went and made the decision that he made, why in the world should that in itself have an effect on me? If I was challenged, maybe I'd be different. the Kabbalistic Sfarim tell us a very interesting, a very brilliant, and ultimately a very necessary message. And that is, Adam was all 600,000 souls. Adam was all the nishamot of the world that would ever be. And as one, we all decided at the same time, all the nishamot were there, and all the nishamot said it makes sense to go eat from the Eitz Hadat. Why? Why would we go and do that? There's a beautiful Mechtav Me'Elio on it that gives such clarity, but that's not for now. Ultimately, though, it was all of us together that went and made that sin initially. And then, the Kabbalistic Sfarim then take us on a journey of what happened next. You see, after he went and did that, there was a breakdown of all those souls. It says that the souls that made up the head of Adam, they floated to Shemayim. But then from the neck and down, all of those souls broke apart and broke into this world as 600,000 nishamot, that all of them together have to go and build a tafkid, build their purpose, go and relate back to the initial mistake, to fix that initial consequence. What the Derech Hashem tells us is that after Adam's sin, now humanity bears the responsibility of having caused extra evil, extra darkness come into this world. And therefore now he says, a lashon of, it takes kiflayim, it takes twofold. It's a double effort. One, to bring us back to Adam lifnei hachet. One, to bring us back to like Adam before the sin. And then the second step is now to overcome and then to earn olam haba. What the Jews were by Vayichan Sham Neged Ahar, Vayichan Sham, that they were there lying, Ki'ish Echad Belev Echad, like one. What that means is that they were able to build themselves back as if Hashem was seeing Klal Yisrael like Adam Harishon again. And this is the very famous pshat, and this is the depth behind the concept that says that when the Yidden were by Har Sinai, the zuhama of the nachash, the poison of the snake, it left them, it was gone. They were like Adam lifnei hachet. They were like Adam before the sin. Incredible. Meaning, the idea, therefore, of v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha is, you actually have to look at Klal Yisrael and say, kamocha, he is me. That is what I am. And so the same way I want, and that's why we say, b'tzedek tishpot amitecha. That's why we say we have to give benefit of the doubt, because we are so good at giving ourselves the benefit of the doubt, aren't we? If we messed up in something, they'll understand. If we were going, come on, officer, can't you understand I was driving, I had to get to a certain place, please don't give me a ticket. We said something we shouldn't have, come on, I mean, they saw how angry I was. You decided to skip Marav one night with a minyan and daven at home. It's like, Hashem knows how tired I am. All day we're so good at making up the most outlandish excuses for ourselves. B'tzedek tishpot, to give a certain favorable judging to ourselves, we're awesome at that. And so therefore, understanding V'hatrecha kamocha tells us, use that same incredible imagination that you have for yourself and know that the rest of the Yidden are a part of you. And the best way to go about showing that is by saying, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. What it is wonderful. I'm wowed by you. I'm fascinated by you. I'm in debt to you. I love being with you. How good does that feel? There was somebody who I gave a shiur by his house recently, and I had made a joke. I had made a joke because there was the riots going on here in Los Angeles. And I said to them that a friend of mine had reached out to me. This friend lives someplace in the middle of America, somewhere in the mamash, in the middle. He sent me his address once, and I looked it up on like Apple Maps or some Google Maps something, and it was basically just like green around him for miles. He's a farmer, a gewaldige yid. And he had said to me once, do you want to open up a yeshiva together? In the middle of nowhere, let's open up a yeshiva together. And so I said to all the guys, with all these riots happening, to tell the truth, living in the middle of nowhere, that kind of seems pretty tempting because potatoes don't riot. Oh, yada, 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 as a joke. After the shiur, the host of the class, he walked me down the driveway, back out the house, and he said to me, I just want to let you know, the effect that you're having on me, on my friends, on my family, you don't know. You don't know. You can't know. And probably people don't tell you. But please, don't ever think about leaving. That feeling of being wanted, that feeling of being appreciated, that feeling of saying that you matter to us. And I had only said it as a joke, but the fact was, he felt the need. Now, everybody else felt it as a joke, but he felt the need that maybe Rabbi Bensoussan, he's not invincible as a human being. Maybe he can use a good word. And he gave me one. I came home that night. My wife asked me, how'd the shiur go? First words out of my mouth, I got to tell you what this and this guy said. And I thought, wow, it made us feel so good. Vayichan sham neged ahar keish echad belev echad is something where our hearts are pumping together as one to care and to feel. So for the next few minutes, I really wanted to talk about how Gedolim, we always look to the Gedolim, we always look to the greats, the giants. We look to our great rabbis to see how far do they go with Hakarat HaTov. So let's see. So I heard these stories of, I think it was from Rabbi Waxman. He said that there was an old rabbi once in Israel, and he was invited to the bar mitzvah of somebody's son. They saw the Alta Yid in shul on Shachos by the morning, and the kid leaned, the kid read the Torah, and they said to him, yeah, we're having the bar mitzvah, the suud, by our apartment. And their apartment is up a good bunch of flights there in Yerushalayim. So you invite people, stop, it's a kind of an invite. In middle of the party, in middle of the Sudan Shabbat for the bar mitzvah, there's a knock on the door. They open up the door, and this Alta Yid that they invited, he's sweating buckets. He's just trying to catch his breath from climbing up that mountain of stairs. And he says to them, aren't you going to invite me in? They said, Godot, nobody come in, please. They gave him something to drink. He sat down. They said to him, you realize it was, it was an invitation, but nobody expected you to have to schlep up the steps and to go so far and to do so much. Listen to the answer. He said to them, when you told me that today's his bar mitzvah, even before he started laning, I didn't know. I was sitting there by Shachris in the morning, and you came in. He said, it's his bar mitzvah, come join us. He said, I looked at your son, and I remembered being by your son's Brit Milah 13 years ago. And I looked at him and I said, 13 years? 13 years? Where have they gone? How is that little kid 13 years old? I didn't know. I have to do tshuva. He said, I sat through the whole Shachris, crying into my siddur. Midaf tshuva getan. I have to do tshuva. I have to do tshuva. He said, and you gave me a hit orirut. You gave me an awakening of doing teshuvah that I haven't felt for a long time. And I needed to show hakarat hatov to you. And so therefore, And the best way for me to show Hakarat Tov is, I came running over, I climbed up the steps, and I wanted to come and say Mazel Tov and thank you. They did nothing. They didn't do any kind of push for him to do teshuvah. But as a yid, it should burn inside you. And I mamash question your Yiddishkeit. I question it. If you don't have Hakarat Tov burning inside you to go and to show people how they helped you, it's one of the main aspects of what makes us whom we are. The Manchester Rosh Yeshiva. So he lived in England, Manchester. And one year, his sukkah went flying. The middle of the like right by the first night of Sukkot, his sukkah, there was a torrential downpour. His sukkah went flying, crushed. The next day, he needed a sukkah. It's the first day Yom Tov. He needs a sukkah. He knocks by his neighbor's door. And his neighbor says, who's there? The Manchester Rosh. Oh, wow. Kavod harav, Godot. How can it? Come on in, please. He said, I want to come. Can I make kiddush in your sukkah? To be yotzeh the mitzvah. Kiddush, you can come. You can live in our sukkah. No, I just want to make. He comes in and he makes kiddush. And those first days of Yom Tov, before he was able to be misader his sukkah by Chal HaMoed, those first days of Yom Tov, he came and they made him feel comfortable and they sang with him and they said the Divrei Torah with the Rav. Listen to this. After Sukkot was over, a few days later, there's a knock on the door. They see it's the Manchester Rosh Yeshiva standing there. And he's holding a worn-out sefer, holding a worn-out book. And he says to the neighbor, I wanted to give you this as a thank you. I want to show you Hakarat Tov. Thank you so much for taking me in. He said, please, Mechilas Rosh Yeshiva, I don't. He said, no, you have to take this. I need to show you Hakarat Tov. The man looked. This was a first edition of Kovitz Ha'arot, and it was signed by the author, by Rav Elchanan Wasserman himself. And this was given to the Rosh Yeshiva himself. This is a family heirloom. This is something you keep in your family for forever. You don't give away. But he said, he did us such a tova. He gave me kiddush inside his sukkah. I wouldn't have been able. He gave me the mitzvah of sukkah. To the Manchester Rosh Yeshiva, the mitzvah of sukkah. How can I then go and equal? He said, I was going to buy you a bottle of wine, and a bottle of wine compared to a mitzvah of sukkah. I was going to get you a picture of, but that, what could it? And then I saw this Kovitz Ha'arot sitting on my shelf, and I said, that to me is priceless, and the mitzvah of sukkah is priceless. I have to go and give him what he gave me. The distance that they go. I want to tell you one more story. I used to work in a Camp Sharim. And Rabbi Wadish, my boss, Gavaldige Yid at Tzaddik, lives in Brooklyn at Tzaddik. He told me this story. He said that at one of his children's weddings, Reb David Feinstein, for Shalema, Reb Ruvain Feinstein, walked in the middle of the wedding. They show up in the middle of the wedding. The Gedolei Hadar showed up in the middle of his kid's wedding. And he's shocked. He went over to the Michutan, to the other side of the family, and he said to them, why exactly did the Gedolei Hadar just walk into our wedding? And the Michutan, he was just sitting there. And he said, I can't believe it. They actually showed up. He said, what? He said, I got to tell you. Listen to this incredible story. He said, years ago, My wife's father was an electrician. My wife's father was called by MTJ, by Reb Moshe Feinstein's yeshiva on the Lower East Side. My wife's father was called up all the time by them to come do different work on the electricity over there. They always had issues and problems, and boilers were breaking and lights weren't working, and he would come and he would always go there to work and go to help out. One Friday, he was driving home. He stopped by in the Bronx to go get something. And we got out of his car to go get something. There was apparently some kind of a gunfight or something happened that she didn't know. He got shot and he got killed. This is before cell phones, and there was nobody who was calling him. It was right before Shabbat when it happened. And unfortunately, the family had no idea. He never came home for Shabbat. Finally, Motzei Shabbat, the police were able to put things together. They figured out who he was, where he was from. They called the family and they told them, we have this unfortunate news. The Levaya was there for on Sunday. Reb Moshe Feinstein came to the Levaya, to the funeral. And Reb Moshe Feinstein stood at the funeral, crying bitter tears, and he said, this man, this electrician, was a tzaddik because he never took money for the work that he used to do for us in MTJ. He could have charged us money. It's an honest living. But whenever we tried to pay him, he said, Chas v'shalom, I'm doing this for the yeshiva. I want to give to the yeshiva. What? Please don't embarrass me by trying to give me money. He refused to take, and the man would come and work for us for free. Said Reb Moshe Feinstein, I'm going to show Akarat HaTov to his children, to his grandchildren. Whenever they make simcha, whenever they have a wedding, I'm going to show up to all of his children's wedding to show them what kind of Akarat HaTov I have. Now, Rabotai, it would have been amazing if only Reb Moshe showed up. But years and years later, Reb Moshe Feinstein's children, the Gedolei Hadar, who themselves were not young men at the time, came to continue Hakarat HaTov to show to the grandchildren. And Baruch Hashem, he had many grandchildren of this electrician that they showed up to the wedding because Hakarat HaTov, because it's endless. And the same Rabbi Wadish told me this story because he and I had a story. We once brought our camp to Lakewood, New Jersey. We brought them to different places. It was during the 9 days. And after we dropped them off someplace, Rabbi Wadish and I were driving back to Brooklyn. The counselors, the head counselors, we were driving back in his van to Brooklyn. We were driving by a pizza shop that we used to buy pizza. Whenever we would send the kids, we would buy pizza. We were in Brooklyn, the camp, but we would send the camp many times to Lakewood. We'd always order from this one pizza shop. Rabbi Wadish pulled in and said, I want to get a drink, and I want to say thank you to the guy behind the counter for always taking care of us. I was in the middle of doing my daf. I said to him, I'm going to stay in the van to do my daf yomi. Huge regret. I wish I had gone in because of what happened next. A few minutes later, Rabbi Wadish comes walking out. And he looks very emotional. He sits down. And he says to me, Ari, you missed something. I said, what? He said, you know the guy who helps us out over there in this pizza? I said, yeah, sure. His name was Chaim. He said, yeah. He said, I walked in. The place is packed. It's the 9 days, so nobody can eat meat. So it's a pizza shop. It's packed. I asked the guy behind the counter, is Chaim here? And they said, yeah, sure, 1 second. Where's Chaim? Chaim, where is it? He's in the back. And a guy comes, he's all schwitz, and he's all busy. He's like, yeah, what can I do? Can I help you? I said, I'm Reb Shlomo Wadish. He said, okay, I'm Reb Wadish from Brooklyn, from the camp, from Sha'arim. He said, oh, okay, shalom, yeah, are you Chaim? Yeah, I'm Wadish said, I just came. Thank you for all the years that you've helped us. The pizza was always delicious. You always put smiles on our campers' faces. Thank you. And I'm getting emotional because of the next part. The guy, in front of everybody online, in front of his workers, in front of the busy store, started crying. Crying. He came around the counter and he hugged Rebbe Wadish, a long, sweaty hug. And he whispered in his ear and he said, thank you for telling me that. He said, I've been working here for years, and I never got a thank you like that. Rabotai, for a Yid to say that, boy, do we need to up our game of Hakarat HaTov. All of us. So please, let us all try. Let us all strive. Let us all begin to appreciate each other. We see how far it is. We see how definitive it is. And we see ultimately what it can cause. If all of us together begin to appreciate, to show real love and connection and relationship by saying thank you and appreciating for real, we can then one more time, Vayichan Sham, we can be together as one, like Adam Lifnei Hachet, and this time bring Mashiach, B'meir v'yameinu, Amen. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for listening.
So